let us start. All right, Cloud Foundry Foundation Technical Oversight Committee for the 21st of February 2023. Agenda today, no working group because I straight up forgot, because last week was a bit hectic to say the least. So instead, we have on the agenda deciding what to do about our collected and stale or infrequently used Slack channels, which working group we want to use as the branch protection guinea pig, reviewing some PRs, then any other business. Does that sound correct and okay? Is there anything anybody wants to add to that before we make a start? Nope. All right. As always.
I'm not sure if people saw Ryan Moran's message last Wednesday in the TOC channel, but there's the RFC for the Picado build pack working group and how they want to do working group elections. I'll drop a link in to that. Yeah, I didn't know whether we wanted to
wait till we spoke to them again to give him feedback on that, or put it in the thread, or I guess 8 weeks is quite a long time.
We can at least, raise it for our attention.
Yeah.
I'll drop it in the PR list just for us to take a look at.
Yep. Yeah, any other PRs that want addressing, bung them in there as we go. All right. Stale and frequently used Slack channels. Ram, Chris, I believe you were taking that on. Is that right?
Yes. And we haven't yet because there were other things that seemed a bit more pressing, but yeah, we'll do a cleanup of that. I don't know if you all want to, a policy and when Slack channels get archived or what, but basically, some point this month we'll go through and just anything that hasn't had any activity in the year or so, we'll just archive the channel. And if someone complains, we can unarchive it.
What about infrequent ones where?
Well, yeah, there might be some, anything that has signs of life, I'll just kind of leave. There's not a ton of harm in having, seldom used Slack channels. So, but I think there'll be a lot of kind of obvious ones that can just be archived.
I think we were talking about the notion that some of the ones that are infrequently used are people looking for support on something.
Right.
Not getting it. And if there's a way we could maybe signpost those people to somewhere where they are a bit more likely to get support. Is that a thing we could do with Slack channels, like a redirect?
I don't know exactly. I think the stale channels lead to people maybe asking questions and then not getting an answer, whereas they might be better off just asking in general if it's like an obscure channel no one's checking, right? But I would think most people would, if they don't get a response, would go to a more general Slack channel and ask their question as well. So, but I don't think there's a direct option there.
Okay, let's, I guess, roll with cleaning out the ones that we know about for now.
Yep.
And I guess at some point in the future, we can do a check for like how many of these remaining channels are being used with any kind of frequency. And if we're seeing lots of people asking in there still, maybe we do something about it. But for now, that seems like a reasonable response. Right. Which working group do we want to use as a branch protection guinea pig? I thought I saw, Stephan, you'd done something on that.
Yeah. I'm proposing the application runtime deployments working group. I talked with Jochen about that. There's a PR open, and we agreed that we will leave it open. I announced it in the Slack channel of the working group, and we will discuss it on this Thursday's working group meeting if somebody objects. So especially if Dave or Carson have some comment to. Otherwise, we would then merge it and see what happens. It's a small working group with something like 10, 12 projects. So even if we have to clean it up manually afterwards, it would be manageable in contrast to, let's say, application runtime interfaces, which has 50 repositories. I don't think so, but yeah, and then I guess we can collect feedback. There was one question in the Slack channel, I think by the Corifi colleagues, who asked if we can also configure status checks. And this is actually more tricky because there is no common set of status checks across all projects. So for now, it's not possible. The only option you have is to opt into this static override configuration per project. If you have a single project where you have a special configuration, and if it's a common use case and we see standard checks like CLA, for instance, I mean, I think that's handled on org level, so it's not a good example, but something like that, we could also propose a configuration on working group or working group area level on this YAML file, and then generate accordingly for all the GitHub repositories these checks. Don't know if that works out. I said if they have this use case for many projects, they should open an issue so that we can discuss and then come to a proposal and certain improvements.
Yeah, that all sounds quite reasonable to me. When's the next working group meeting?
This Thursday, so the day after tomorrow, 24th of February. No, 23rd of February. Today is the 23rd. Ah, okay. One day off in my mind.
Sorry, Ruben, I interrupted you.
Yeah, we're saying just like, because we have that override file, right, we will see the patterns that emerge, right? And then we can always extract a pattern from there.
Let's start small and then grow.
Sounds good. Okay, on to PRs then. 538 is up first. 538. I think it just wants an approval on a merge, doesn't it? Okay, that's sufficient approvals. Merge done. 535. Oh, this one, yeah. I remember now. This is one with a wider discussion. Ruben?
Yes, there is a page where you can see that we apparently are spamming people. So they are still in the list of people that we want to invite for the org, but they are ignoring or rejecting the invite, the org invite, and then the automation keeps sending it. So yeah, ideally we stop doing that.
I guess we need to define a cutoff period. If you haven't accepted it within 2 weeks or something, we just cut you off.
Yeah, I think, Ruben, we both ended up taking a look at that list last week. I think there weren't that many people on it, and we'd been repeating them over and over. So seems pretty reasonable to remove the ones that have had a repeat invite, at least.
I hadn't looked at the list until now. I was thinking it was maybe only 10 or 15 people. There's 3 pages with the people there. So
That's a lot of repeats, as Eric was saying.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was something we could just do by hand every now and again, but by the looks of it, no, it probably does.
Oh no, I think we can. I think there's only like a handful of people on there, but they keep getting repeated invites.
Really? Because that list looked quite long to me, unless I've.
On the failed invitations.
Ah, yeah, it's repeated right on page 2. It's
oh, right. Sorry, I was misinterpreting what you were saying, meaning by repeated. As I thought you meant like they had been repeatedly receiving invitations, not that it was repeated in the list. Or maybe that's the same thing manifested.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, I'm seeing the same set of like 5 people over and over again who are getting invitations and they're expiring.
In that case, I don't mind running through that and just cleaning those people out who haven't accepted it within 2 weeks. I don't mind doing that. I'll stick that down for myself to go and do.
Okay, you know what to do? Because there's like a file that you need to change and make a PR against.
That's a good point. I will work it out. I was expecting to go through the UI and just quite happily sit there and tick them all through for half an hour. But yeah, yes. If it's
No,
in the
you have to remove it from the contributors YAML file
course,
in,
yes,
under
I
org
will.
Cloud Foundry community.
Good catch. Thank you very much. Yes, I will do the correct thing, shall I? That would help, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I will mention it in the PR.
Right. Okay. 535. That's the one we were just discussing, wasn't it? Okay. So the Paketo build packs one then. Is this one that we maybe want to, like, looking at how much there is to this? Do we maybe want to commit to coming back to this next week when we've all had a chance to?
Oh
to
yeah,
read it and have
I think we should
opinions?
just be aware of it for our review.
Yeah.
This is Ryan's proposal for how their working group leads, which they refer to as the steering committee, would work.
Yeah.
You know, given that we've been pretty, we've had a lot of latitude in terms of really letting them work out their processes autonomously. I would expect us just to be providing advice here, and you know, if this is what the whole working group views as appropriate, then I think we wouldn't want to obstruct it or anything like that. It's also, I think, fairly well modeled on how the TOC election works, so I'd be surprised if we found anything objectionable in here.
Yeah.
Where we might see some refinements that we want to adopt for our TOC elections and membership processes. So thanks, Ryan.
Where's the link?
It's
I dropped a link in the PR list in the Google Doc.
I'll add it to the. So I've added it to the topics for us to discuss next week, up top of the document, and I'll bring it in next week once we've all had a chance to look at it. It might just be a bit of a checkbox exercise for us next Tuesday to say, yep, seen it. Didn't think there was anything for us to discuss, but at least it gives us that chance to do that bit. Okay, Ram, you dropped a document in there for us to discuss.
Hi, yes, I did. So I've just tried to summarize a bunch of the different places where the update for Jammy has been happening. As you probably noticed, and it's not a great thing to say, but the CF blog has been kind of dormant for weeks, maybe months now. So I'm just trying to start publishing a few things, and I felt that an update about this is a good candidate, especially given that our community is going to read about it. And so I just thought I'd publish something short, but still relevant. And I thought if the TOC could review this quickly and help me shape it up for publishing, I'd really appreciate any input and comments and feedback I can get on the draft.
Sure thing. Is there a rough date you want to publish this?
Sorry, Andy?
Is there a rough date by when you want to, like, is there a timeline you need us to do this by? That's what I'm asking.
Well, before the end of the week would be ideal.
Okay, yeah. I can certainly do that by the end of the week. Yep. Do you want to bung it in the TOC channel as well, so we don't lose the
I
link?
will do that.
Brilliant.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, doke. Any more then? I think we've reached the end of where we wanted to be today. A nice speed run again today.
I've got a quick update. Some of you may have known that we've been planning a Cloud Foundry Day in Europe this year. We were going to be doing that probably the week of KubeCon. However, for a couple of reasons, we've decided probably decouple that. So we will be sponsoring KubeCon in Amsterdam in April. The CF Day in Heidelberg is still on, but we're probably planning on doing that kind of more standalone in maybe June. And there were a couple of reasons for this, which I can get into or not. But yeah, we think there'd be more advantage to just having it separate. We've found out from some community members that having it right that week would actually conflict with some of the co-located events at KubeCon that they want to attend. So we would probably lose a couple of people that way. And there's not that much advantage to having it the same week, except maybe, we save a little bit of money on airfare. So we'll be having we are definitely going to have a CF Day in Heidelberg, but it's probably going to be more like mid-June and not mid-April.
Fair enough. Any other business we want to attend to? Nope. Alrighty, folks. Let's wrap up there, and we'll see you all again next Tuesday for another thrilling installment. Right. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.